Then we have the white paper number 4, which focuses on the legal architecture anchoring the cooperation agreement. And then white paper number 5, which is environment and green development. And this talks to the issues of the Nairobi Rivers regeneration, the waste to energy opportunity, the built environment, which includes affordable housing, and positioning of Nairobi as a city that can benefit from green finance. Then we have the white paper number 6, which talks of flood resilience. Mr. Chairman, we are all living in a very different time, and we are seeing more frequent and devastating flooding of Nairobi City. So we have a white paper number 6, which focuses and addresses this specific area. The details are there, and we are flexible. Actually, we are ready if need be, because it's a very comprehensive subject. We are ready to provide a team or even to share these white papers as they are developed along the way. And then white paper number 7 deals with urban security. And this is the establishment of the Nairobi Metropolitan Service Framework. The Nairobi Metropolitan Police Service proposal establishes a dedicated ward-structured community embedded Metropolitan Police formation within the Nairobi Police Service, National Police Service. Now, you will interrogate this further, but clearly what we are pointing out is that we can have a dedicated police service without having to amend the Act of the National Police Service. Different formations have been made before. Even within the National Police Service today, you can have the anti-stalk unit, and you do not need a new act because the law has already provided for an opportunity for different formations to be there. So we can have the Nairobi Metropolitan. And this, when we talk of Nairobi Metropolitan, we can all see that Nairobi, Machakos, Kiambu, sections of Kajiado, they are basically a metropolis. So this would help in giving more focus to improve on the security within this large metropolis. We also talk of how to strengthen accountability. And we have no intention whatsoever to undermine the principles of devolution. Mr. Chair, I would like, maybe you, I'm sure maybe you know, maybe you don't, but for purposes of being on record, I am the one who submitted the sessional paper on devolution to Parliament. And I was the one who led the first 6 pieces of legislation to anchor devolution and to trigger off devolution. I did when I was Minister for Local Government, to make sure that we beat the election and have devolution as part of the electoral process. So in my blood, devolution flows in the veins. So I would be the last person to undermine devolution. Question 3, Chair, because As I said, I'm highlighting, the document is with you. We talk about aspect around the pending bills. And here we talk of the budget, but we are also conscious of the fact, Mr. Chairman, that there is a dedicated committee chaired by the former Auditor General, Ouko, who is working under a separate mandate that is focused around aspects of pending bills within the public entities. So that becomes limited to the extent that his report will be more detailed and more thorough on how to deal with the issue of pending bills. But we do flag some thoughts in the document that we have given. You know, these lawyers have their own way of saying certain things. Who is going to speak to it?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My name is Dan Ameyo. I'm legal advisor to the Prime Cabinet Secretary. If you go to page 7 of the presentation by the Prime Cabinet Secretary, you will see the legal context in which the agreement has been anchored. The first one is Article 189 of the Constitution, which clearly provides that there is cooperation between the two levels of government, including the right to establish joint committees and joint authorities. So there is already a constitutional anchor. The second legal provision is Article 6, which again establishes the two levels of government, though distinct but interdependent, and therefore they should be conducting their relations through consultations and cooperation. This cooperation is in pursuance of that particular provision. And as His Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary has correctly highlighted, the Urban Areas and Cities Act, particularly Section 6, subsection 5, provides the legal basis for the structured cooperation in the management and development of Nairobi as a capital city. Mr. Chairman, we also make reference to the Intergovernmental Relations Act, particularly Section 23, which authorizes the establishment of the joint committees to facilitate intergovernmental consultations. It is important, again, to emphasize, as His Excellency has done, that this agreement expressly provides that it does not constitute a transfer of functions and therefore does not fall within the ambit of Article 187 of the Constitution of Kenya. Mr. Chairman, I think those are the key legal texts that this agreement is anchored on. I thank you.
Any other additional things that's might be someone to add? Thank you so much, Prime Cabinet Secretary and his team. I think the explanation is very clear. Probably want to ask one or two questions that may be of concern. One is actually the role of the county. These funds come from the National Assembly, sorry, the national government, and it's being used in the city, which comes under National Assembly for purpose of accountability. So the agreement has not given a role to the national, the county assembly of Nairobi to oversight all functions and all implementation of projects. So we're expecting kind of concerns from the elected members of the county assembly. So I don't know how, in terms of accountability and in terms of implementation, what will be the role of the county assembly? Two, the county government of Nairobi did not give a specific budget on implementation of where they have their own contribution, or how they will be able to implement the project. Because definitely they have to have their contribution for these projects. So we're not seeing any agreement being done in terms of contributing, in terms of human resource, in terms of physical interventions, financial implications, and all these things are not there. So I don't know how that was agreed upon on the role of the county as Nairobi County. It's not coming out very clearly. Two, I think I'll also give time to my colleagues. This is a 2-year program. So what happens after 2 years? What's a long-term plan for this kind of intervention? Because we require this city has to be improved. As you rightly say, the city needs a lot of interventions. The county is not able to run alone. So what will be the long-term interventions again? I mean, how will this program continue after the 2 years? Thank you. Any member wants to ask a question? Yes, Senator Muma.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity, and welcome once again, PCS and team. Chair, I'd like to confirm that when I served in the Commission for the Implementation of the Constitution, when we did the devolution laws, and Prime Cabinet Secretary, then local government minister, sat with us until 3:30 a.m. In CIA. We were working on these laws to get them done. So even as we move, I believe if anything goes wrong, we will take it to be mischievous, because we actually also know exactly how this should happen. And I also want to confirm that in terms of the legal anchor as read by the team, that is correct. And also to declare that whoever read this was my boss at the Attorney General. When I served there, was my immediate boss at the Attorney General, and Amos Wako was the top boss then. PCS, we were concerned, and we called the governor for Nairobi. Basically, first, there was a lot of this issue was signed and then went public. So the public participation process was not properly followed. It was being done post facto. It was being done after the signing of the agreement. It even had a clause saying that if anything new comes out of public participation, it will be put in. And Dana Mayo, you'll agree that is untidy way of doing agreements. You first do public participation, bring on board everything that ought to be there, and then it should be there. Now, I agree that this agreement is required under the Urban Areas and Cities Act, and none of the previous Nairobi governments have actually done this agreement, and therefore the agreement is welcome. But my reading of the agreement, particularly of clause 7 on financing of the agreement, is so vague. Now, Governor Sakaja tells us he has fundraised 80 million out of this, 80 billion, sorry. We don't know where that 80 billion is. In fact, when you look at clause 7, it's not a clause, it's now an article, because it's signed. It's very vague. The parties shall jointly agree on the modalities for financing. So that's why one would wonder, this is a team, a top-heavy team with the national government ministers, sitting with county government ministers, periodically deciding on planning and all of these things. How is that different from a cabinet secretary, a cabinet of the county sitting and planning its own functions? And the functions that have been picked are actually county functions. So if you're meeting and planning on these functions, what is the county cabinet doing? Is it also meeting and planning functions? So this makes it look like national government has actually come in to run the county government. National government function under the Constitution is to set national policy, is to set standards, is to provide technical support, and of course to implement their own functions, amongst which for Nairobi a very important one that you raise is security. And I didn't see security mentioned as one of the areas of collaboration, and security is purely the function of national government, but you can cooperate and collaborate on that function. So with this vague provision, anybody reading this agreement is unclear on what national government is coming to assist county government to do. It's not very clear at all. So we would want to know exactly what extent. We've not seen any mention that national government will be giving conditional grants to support areas, for instance, where you must secure the diplomatic missions and things. I would have wanted to see that role of cooperation and collaboration that retains the distinctiveness of the two levels of government. But here, it looks like we have merged the two cabinets and we have asked them to run Nairobi City County. That will be a backdoor way of implementing 187, even though you are saying the agreement is under 189. We need clarity that in this instance, we are giving technical support. In this instance, we are helping to enforce standards. In this instance, we are giving conditional grants for the counties to deliver. I don't see any of that in this agreement. Now, recently, if we can use the floods that happened in Nairobi recently. Once the floods happened, I think there was all manner of jokes about the flooding in Nairobi, and I think the Nairobi governor took the flak for it. All the mention of Lake Sakaja and all these other things that were being said. But what the Kenyans failed to note, that Kenha and Kura are in charge of the roads in Nairobi. The Kura roads are county roads, but national government is yet to deliver the money for the county roads. RLMF, all the money of RLMF is still with the national government. So in Nairobi, effectively, whoever is doing roads is national government, both county roads and national government. So if there's a weakness on delivery around drainage and roads in Nairobi, it's not the national government, even though county government has a role. Simply because the national government has resisted to wind up the parastatal holding county fund, still holding on to those monies, has not given those county as conditional grants for county to implement. But of course, when it happens and lives are lost, the governor has to take the flak for it. So we would want to see, as we give you accolades for at least attempting this collaborative agreement, it would be good to see real efforts that people can monitor accountability for and be able to see through this particular issue on roads is going to be better in April when the rains come, or this is already. We would want to see, and hopefully PCS will tell us in the current budget which lines are part of that 80 billion, particularly at least for this coming financial year, slotted in that will help us to see what is happening. think I can stop.
Professor.
Thank you very much, Chair. I also would like to raise a few issues in relation to the legal context. I think it has come out very clearly. But I want to understand cooperation their way.